my story. Why am I staring over here? Fuck Shy. Stare this way.
Yeah, fuck you, Shaq. Go ahead. I got your back, friend.
Okay. So, who the fuck is requesting? Oh, Sugar. Okay. Okay. There we go. I'll just turn like this. This is easier. Okay, so.
Hachi, be closer. Hachi.
Okay. So this is my story, and you know, just wanted to tell you guys because kind of want you guys to know me a little bit more. So. Okay, so as I was saying, is that I kind of want you guys to know me a little bit more, so I want you guys to hear my story. So, my name, I'm gonna say my name by the way, I don't care who the fuck knows. My name is Manuel Andablo. I'm Mexican, as you all know. And, well, Mexican, Korean, part Indian as well. I just...
I don't understand that. Can you speak that in English, please?
Anyway.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, so, I have not lived a pretty good life up to now. And this is basically what happened. I was born with a rare deficiency, it's just a rare case that I was born with small lungs and I was premature from birth. I was actually not supposed to make it and somehow I actually made it. I have really critical asthma, and if anything affects that asthma, I probably will die. So, yeah, when I was little, I actually ended up going about and getting injured a lot and doing a lot of other stupid shit. I would visit the hospital constantly, and I was there for a very long time. About 5 years of my life were spent in the hospital. I ended up meeting some interesting people there, and I met an old man that I told the story to Shai already. I met an old man in that hospital, and he would play games with me and play video games and everything. He ended up passing away the next day that I would play with him, and he ended up giving me a coin that I still have to this day. It was a World War II coin. It's actually a really, it's not valuable or anything, but it's it's really special because apparently his family never really paid attention to him, and I did. So he ended up giving it to me before he passed away. How can I say this? My family isn't great at all. They used to ignore me a lot. Like, a lot. I used to, when I would get out of the hospital, I used to hide under the bed because I didn't think they cared about me, right? So I thought they would just ignore me. And they would spend about like 2 hours or 3 hours, they would try to find me because they didn't know where I was. After a while, they just gave up, and then I showed up. It's like they honestly haven't really cared about me in that sense. Does that make sense? Fast forward a couple of years, I ended up moving to... I used to live in Palmdale, by the way. I ended up moving to El Centro, back where, where I grew up. Got into some bad business there. I ended up kind of dying out of being in a motorcycle accident that happened. This is the first time I got run over, by the way. So I got run over by a motorcycle, and I almost died out of it. Man, I should have practiced this. Not gonna lie.
Take your time, my dude. Everybody's got time.
Yeah, I'm trying.
We're all friends here. In fact.
I know. Can I step out of this fire? It's really bothering me.
I mean, if you want to, knock yourself out, dude.
I'll just stay here.
Stand on a rock, right here.
This isn't a real
On this rock?
what you want.
Yeah.
Okay. So, back when I used to be in El Centro, and I was in grade school. I wasn't the greatest at learning or anything. I actually had dyslexia and, well, partial dyslexia. I couldn't learn that well. My parents used to sit down with me, and every single time I tried to spell something out wrong, or if I did something wrong, they would actually like hit me or something like that along those lines, because I couldn't say the words, and they didn't know what was wrong with me at that time, and they didn't really bother actually asking anyone else. I ended up just studying until 3rd grade in El Centro, and then I ended up moving to Mexicali, which was not the greatest of times. My parents ended up doing an investment and ended up making a company over there, a tortilleria. And, you know, they had money and everything, so they went to the cheapest place that they could go to rent. I don't know why they did it. Yeah, I guess it was just to save money. It wasn't the most greatest of times, because there was constant gang fights and everything, and in order for me to actually survive in that time, I actually had to join a gang on them. They would get into fights, they would like hit me and everything, they would do a lot of other stuff. They would actually tie me up against a soccer post, and they would actually throw soccer balls at me. I still remember those times. They would grab me and they would, you know, just toss me everywhere. I've seen instances where one of my friends that was in that gang would actually got shot and got killed. I was stabbed in the corner of my armpit right here. It wasn't the most pleasant of times, and my parents didn't even bother caring or anything. They didn't even really know what was going on. The only one that knew was my big sister, but at that extent she didn't really even care. Back then they used to have to get me into fights, and they would, you know how they do like the fight clubs and stuff like that. I used to be in one of those. And this was when I was fairly like in 5th grade actually, and they would put me up against like bigger guys and stuff like that, and I would end up going and fighting them. It wasn't pleasant at all. I can't really say I had a childhood, because I wouldn't really consider that as a childhood. I remember times where in these gangs that I would have to go to other gang territories and basically, you know, try to have them stay out of their turf and stuff like that. I remember hiding in broken buildings just so that they couldn't find me, and you would hear gunshots everywhere. It wasn't pleasant at all. When I was in school over there in Mexicali, though, I went from being in 4th grade. I was only there in Mexicali from 4th to 6th grade. When I was in 4th grade, they actually didn't place me in 4th grade because they knew I had a learning disability. And my mom would argue with the teacher and everything, and, you know, got nowhere. So they ended up putting me in the 1st grade so that I can learn how to do basic stuff, but in Spanish. It was really hard, honestly. After half a year of being in that grade, they ended up moving me back and wanted me to basically catch up to everyone in that specific period. I didn't know anything at that time, so they would put me against math questions, like divisions. I didn't know how to do division at that time. They would put me against divisions and they would like do it. I didn't know how to do it. I would just, you know, just write whatever, and people would just make fun of me. And I don't know, I was made fun of a lot in school because of, you know, learning disability, and I used to be chubby back then. I used to be a lot more chubbier. I would get called names and everything. I stopped caring after a while. Fast forward a little bit more, and we went back to El Centro because my parents got divorced. They've been divorced for about 16 years now or so. Ended up getting divorced, and I stayed with my mom. She ended up selling the whole company to one of her boyfriends, and there went everything. we ended up moving back to El Centro. We ended up living on EBT for about, 4 years. I remember times where we couldn't find a place to live, and there were times where I actually was in a foster home for about half a year or so. And it wasn't the greatest of times because I knew that it wasn't because I did something, or it wasn't something I could help. My parents never really paid attention to us, as me and my sisters. My big sister actually was gonna get into Harvard, but they ended up telling her no because they wanted her close. And I was always being compared to her, and that always brought me down because I've never really been smart or anything. And yeah, it's just a lot of stuff. And let me try to catch up where I am at. After living in a foster home, my mom ended up taking custody of me and my sister. I used to be in a different foster home than my sisters. When she took us in, we ended up living in... This was when I was in high school at that time. I lived in a house where it was pretty comfortable. We got a lot of people coming in and breaking in, actually, but for the most part, it was pretty comfortable. That's where I met Efra, Kevin, and the rest, and after that, they've been supporting me. And I actually owe them a lot, because if it wasn't for them, then I would actually be pretty lost of what I would do in my life. I didn't know what I would do. I ended up hiding who I really was because I wanted people to like me, and not a lot of people actually like me. It was pretty rough, actually. I'm missing a lot of details here, but I don't want to go in depth on that. After that, I went to high school. Hanged out, and I would still get beat up by some people, even though some of these guys don't know about that. I would have to fight back, and I would get in trouble a lot, even though a lot of people thought I was like goody two shoes or whatever. Fast forward, I went to college, and everything was great at that time. Moved to San Diego, and then I went back to being depressed and not knowing anyone. I isolated myself for about a year and a half, not speaking to anyone, just going to work, heading back to my house. And the house that I lived actually wasn't that great either. I just rented a room for like $400, and there was constant fights in there. There was gunshots, there were police coming in, someone got stabbed, there were scorpions, it's been rough up to this point, honestly. And yeah, I guess that's the sum up version of what I wanted to say. There is a lot more, but that's the summed up version.
Guys, can we get a group hug on Manny right now? Can we get a group hug on Manny right now? Everybody just like on Manny.
Smother him.
Hey man. Like I missed a lot of points as well. Hey.
Feel the love.
Oh my god. There's a lot of people in front of me that I able to.
I am hugging the shit out of you, boy.
Oh my god.
Same.
Like I said, I missed a lot of key points as well, but I'll just leave it like that.
There's a lot of
The
key
cube
points
is like
that
jamming his
you kept